everyone's experiencing all the time the struggle between angels and evil spirits in their mind, which is trying to pull you either toward negativity in hell or toward positivity in heaven. And you need to establish resources for the angels to use. There has to be a place in you where you've got some truths that you know, but not just know, but love and have acted on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they flow into. However, there's like the mother lode. There is the secret weapon that God has stored inside you.
Oh.
Actually stored inside you through your childhood.
Really?
All that fun and goodness you had as a little kid, there was like a very important strategic reason for doing that.
Huh.
That actually can be pulled up. And
amazing.
Swedenborg calls it the remnant.
Okay.
So this is from Secrets of Heaven. A remnant is truth and goodness hidden away by the Lord in our inner self. The remnant consists of acknowledgments of truth and desires for it stored up in us before goodness reveals itself. When accompanied by goodness, they shine out. Until then, only the amount useful for our lives is brought out of storage. So we've got some kind of like repository that's being filled up with things. I don't know if he says it here. Elsewhere, he talks about how all the good states you pass through in childhood.
Yes.
That's how this gets built up. You have this, like, all this instances of love and wonder and innocence and sense of how things are meant to be.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I think it also includes even, I think very, very little children may have a sense of the presence of God, right, or a sense of the presence of angels, a sense that the whole world is kind of alive. So a sense of eternity. You know, some of these basic truths are imprinted at a very early age. And then we get older, we get more sophisticated, and we're cool now. And so they just put that stuff in the back room, but draw out just enough. You know, apparently we couldn't even function without this because it's some sort of basic connection with God and with heaven. But then if we start to move in a good direction, these things can kick in, and the beauty is, I always think of it in connection with this line from the book of Revelation that says, remember from where you've fallen, that we actually start out like the Lord kind of tilts the playing field by putting goodness in there before we even know what's going on. We're having these good experiences. I'm not saying people don't have bad experiences in their childhoods too, but you put good experiences in there, as you say, playfulness, innocence, amazing states of peace,
being in the present.
Sometimes just very in the present, inspired, creative. You know, all these good states are in there for your later use. And Swedenborg says that without them, we'd be sunk. You know, because So the cool thing is we already know how to be in heaven. We know how to love God. We know how to love our neighbor because that was already instilled. And that's something you see in little children too, that they just like light up about, oh, so-and-so came over to the house. You know, they're so excited about it.
So cool.
So you get that experience of, okay, you're having a visceral experience of love of the neighbor, loving God from an early age, and goodness and compassion, you know, not that you're not self-centered an hour later or whatever, but you're having those experiences and they're all being tucked away in a closet for you.
As you were saying that, it occurred to me that this happens very overtly in the near-death experience of Howard Storm, who we had as a guest on this channel a couple of times. But he wrote the best-selling book, My Descent into Death. Have you read that?
Yes. It's awesome.
What happens there is at the time of his accident or you know, his issue that made him die, he self-described not a kind guy at all, arrogant, mean, also very much atheistic, doesn't believe in the existence of God, looks down on stupid people who believe in God, has this disturbing beginning to his experience where he's in his hospital bed, but he's left his body, and these sorts of spirits what are they? They kind of lead him
They
down.
seem like hospital orderlies or something, but they're walking him down the hall, and he doesn't know what's going on. But then they get nastier as they go, right?
Yes.
If memory serves,
They start
abusing him, and they verbally and whatever.
To the point where he's in this dark place, and they're all actually attacking him, and physically and in every way, and he's feels like he's lost. And what he does, or what occurs to him to do, is he has this little song from childhood that's something like, Jesus loves me, or something. And he didn't even know the whole song. He just knew sort of that line. And he just sang it.
A few little things from Sunday school.
Yeah, and I think was it him that the Pledge of Allegiance, where it says
some
under
of it's
God.
not even sacred stuff.
So it's not even, but it's just little things that are connected to something. And it was him saying that. It has this huge impact on the hell that's around him. And they start
backing away, and they say, why are you saying that? What are you doing? And then he realizes it's working. So he kind of doubles down and does some more of it.
And then he's lifted out of there by God. And he doesn't.
What an amazing experience! What an amazing example of
But
things that you think when you're a kid, and you're going in there and you're, I pledge, you're just going through the motions. But something's in there.
Well, again,
that can be used.
Like they will work with whatever's in your
what
mind.
you got.
With what you got.
If it's the Pledge of Allegiance, if it's the blessing that you said before you eat dinner or something, it's in there.
So with Howard and us, that stuff is brought out of storage. This is how the Lord's providence works, and works constantly, although we know nothing whatever about it, and do not even want to know. After all, we deny that providence is in the details, when it really is in the smallest details of all, from the first thread of our life to its end and beyond to eternity. That's what I was saying before. So we don't get it, but everything that's going on, there's a plan in it. This is all going somewhere.
That level of care is unfathomable.
More efforts of providence come together in every single moment for every person than could ever be assigned a number. This I know from heaven.
That is tremendous, and that's a great... I didn't even know we were going there with that quote, but it fits well with that whole idea of different thoughts answering other thoughts, and
that's one of the most potent tools that the angels can operate in, is that concept we just heard, or it has been for me. That if you say, in this moment, when it seems like it doesn't seem like there's God around, doesn't seem like there's angels or heaven, doesn't seem like there's purpose or meaning, seems like things are random, or evil can do whatever it wants in the world and in your own life, and the walls seem to be closing in. There's a truth, which is that this moment, there are trillions of factors that God is controlling for, and He is engineering everything possible to make it so that, I'm not saying this moment won't necessarily be unpleasant, but things are going to turn out so great for you. Everything is going to be so fine in the long run, and that this moment is actually going to contribute to it. It's just like back when I was talking about earlier in this episode, being 19, and I was having all these negative thoughts, and I didn't want that at the time, but what that was doing was it was starting me on the trajectory where I started to care about what's spiritual.
What a blessing in disguise.
So that's good.
A great example.
That's good. And every moment since then, for everyone, is pointing them toward where they need to go. So that truth.
And it taught you about those kind of voices. Like part of what I think we're called on to do is just try to become connoisseurs of, just by the tone of voice or by the content of what's in your head, trying to evaluate, is this good or is it not good? And if it's got that tone of abuse, if it's one of these urgent things, it's just like scams. One of the main things they want you to do is get you into a negative emotion and also have you do something quickly by alarming you.
Right.
It's hell's playbook. It's just perfect. It's perfect. That's what they want to get you alarmed and freaking out, and something has to happen right now. And no, it doesn't. We're playing a very very long game here, and so sometimes I felt like, sometimes thoughts in my head are saying, you're going in the wrong direction. You're falling apart, and what has come to me to say to that sometimes is just to say, you may well be right. Where I'm intending to go is here. And if I figure out I'm going in the wrong direction, then I'll turn and go in the right direction. And eventually I'll get there. Which is a long game kind of perspective.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that I don't know exactly where I need to go. I mean, we know in general we want to go to be happy.
Right.
And that's you can trust that that's the same aim that God has. The universe was created, says Swedenborg, so that there could be a heaven from the human race. And heaven is interchangeable with deep, full happiness. That's what heaven is a state of ever-increasing happiness, peace, and contentment. And it's God's unceasing effort in every single moment to get you there. So I don't know. Yeah, am I going to hit this? I don't even know if that's a stop on the way to heaven or not. God is going to put me wherever he wants to put me to get there. And you can take that idea that we just read, that there's more elements of providence in every moment than you could possibly put a number to, which is just like in your body right this second, there are more little chemical reactions happening than you could ever put a number to, and those are all contributing
you
to
could possibly control.
homeostasis.
You couldn't even know about them, let alone try to control them or do what you want with it or something. No, it's all these things are happening that are outside your.
So that same level of care
control
is happening in your life, and the intent of your life is to bring you to this heaven that God wants to put you in. What I can sometimes do is that whatever thoughts are trying to say right now, you should trust us and believe us. Do those thoughts believe that principle?
Yes. Yeah.
Do they believe that? Do they acknowledge the existence of God and of divine providence? And if not, do I really, if they don't know that most basic fact, do I really need to listen to what they're saying?
Occasionally, it's helped me to pray for when I'm really under assault, to pray for the ones who are doing the assault from the standpoint that I'm having the worst day of my life right now, but these people seem to live in that state. And wow, that's a lot of darkness, and to pray for them, just hope it gets better for them.
Because that connects you to that feeling, which is wish well to all, which is who God is. So let's recap this. So, angels, how do you connect with angels, or how do you interact, or how do you set the stage so that angels can interact with you and communicate with you in their way?
Swedenborg's teaching on this is just so counterintuitive to me, because what I would think somebody would say is light a candle, do some deep breathing, think this, chase that from your mind, picture yourself surrounded by white light, do this, do that. He doesn't say that. He says, take something that you know is good and do it. That's it. No candle, no breathing. It's not that you shouldn't do those other. They're nice things to do, but the main thing is to live by principles that you know. And the takeaway for me out of what we've been talking about is that there are such rules and such wisdom that angels possess from the Lord about how to deal with us, that the chances of you noticing them doing anything are very slim. I don't mean that there aren't people who have a thin veil and see the same kind of things that Swedenborg did. Yeah. There are those people. It's I would say a small minority of the population kind of thing. I'm not in that group myself, but looking at the subtle things, I feel like I am getting help, being grateful for that little positive thought that'll kick in sometimes that helps you, and that helps break the spell, the hold of those things.
Reminds me
because realizing that those angels have to, the thing that I want of sort of a direct, do this, or some sort of direct instruction or something. No, not happening. It's very subtle, emphasizing, anchoring this, pulling this close, shedding a light on this. They're very, very subtle things that Swedenborg says we don't even notice most of the time. But knowing that is useful to me, to thank them for what they're doing, and they're doing it really well.
Yeah, and you can set up something that's better and more consistent than even if you can induce spiritual experiences or something, which I think most people, I don't know if we could ever get there and do that. The people who, obviously Swedenborg was doing that, and it was an important part of what he was doing, and he couldn't have done this revelation without it, but he doesn't ever give you instructions on how to do it, because I don't think he thinks it's bad, but that's not going to solve the problems you're looking to solve.
No. And doing the thing that he's solving will get you to that place.
It may well be that you kick into that gear at some point, but ultimately what you're trying to do is to recognize and strengthen the partnership that already exists, so that you can, when you get those influences, you can know, oh, that's angels here. You can give them more to work with, so that they, in every situation, can kind of give you heaven's attitude toward that situation and heaven's blueprint as to how you should act during that situation. And then you got angels communicating with you all the time, and you can still live your normal life, but just in the stream of providence.